So Apple just killed Cosmic Orange and replaced it with something that is either going to be the most sophisticated thing they have ever done or the most boring. And honestly, I can't decide which one yet. The name is Dark Cherry. And while earlier leakers were throwing around dark red, what's actually been confirmed is something closer to wine, not fruit punch, which tells you everything you need to know about the direction Apple is going with the iPhone 18 Pro. But here's what nobody's really talking about, because the color is the easy story. There are three other things buried in this leak that actually matter way more, and one of them involves black. Again, for the second year in a row, we need to talk about all of it. In just a couple of months, Apple is expected to unveil the iPhone 18 Pro, the 18 Pro Max, and a new foldable iPhone now rumored to be called the iPhone Ultra. And right now, we're in that beautiful, chaotic window where supply chain leaks are flying. And the picture is starting to get very clear very fast. The source here is Macworld, which obtained information from someone familiar with Apple's supply chain, along with actual CAD drawings of the new devices, and including the internal Pantone codes Apple is using for the colors currently being tested. So this isn't someone on Weibo guessing. These are internal codes. That matters. And I'm going to break down every color, what it actually means for you as a buyer, what got quietly canceled, and why Dark Cherry might not even be what you think it is when you see it in a store. Okay, let's start with the headliner. Dark Cherry, a Pantone 6076, is a deep wine-like red that will serve as the signature shade for the 2026 cycle. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because the internet heard red iPhone and immediately lost its mind. People were picturing something bold, something Iron Man, something that demands attention. A deep dive into the Pantone 6076 spec and leaked renders suggests a hue that's actually much closer to deep plum or purple than a traditional red. It follows luxury interior design trends, not the Iron Man red fans keep begging for, so it's more like the color of an expensive Bordeaux you'd order at a restaurant to impress someone and then quietly Google whether you pronounced it right. This new hue is described as more muted and sophisticated than previous experimental colors like last year's Cosmic Orange, leaning into a premium burgundy toned aesthetic. And that is a very deliberate move by Apple. In 2024, it was Desert Titanium. In 2025, it was Cosmic Orange, which divided people sharply. Dark Cherry accomplishes something different, and it still feels premium and restrained, and that's a sharp contrast to last year's divisive Cosmic Orange. So if Cosmic Orange was the loud friend at the party, Dark Cherry is the one in the corner who's actually more interesting once you talk to them. Now here's where the real story is, because alongside Dark Cherry, Apple has reportedly been working on 4 color options total. The light blue Pantone 2121 reportedly resembles the fan favorite Sierra Blue from previous generations, which, if you remember, was one of the most popular iPhone colors they've ever done. So this is basically Apple saying, we heard you. Rounding out the lineup, a refined dark gray, a Pantone 426C, and a classic silver, a Pantone 427C. That dark gray is likely to look similar to space black. Apple is said to be using Pantone 426C, a shade of gray that looks almost black. Almost black. Almost. Because here's the thing, for the second consecutive year, Apple appears to be omitting a true black option for its professional models, opting instead for the unified look of the dark gray and silver finishes. 2 years in a row, no black on the Pro. Last year, both Macworld and leakers Sonny Dixon reported that Apple had considered launching the iPhone 17 Pro in black or steel gray, but neither color was released. And now it's happening again. They're going through the whole, here's what we're considering routine, and then pulling black off the table at the last second. At this point, I think Apple is just testing us. And why? Apple's likely reasoning is that titanium frame Pro models already look and feel dark when photographed. And Apple appears to be prioritizing colors that photograph distinctively on camera and in marketing materials, which, okay, fair point, but also just make the black phone Apple. Now, here's the part most people covering this story glossed over because the colors are easy clicks, but the actual design changes buried in this leak worth paying attention to. The CAD drawings seen by Macworld's source support existing rumors of a smaller dynamic island, which would free up a small amount of additional screen space when live activities are not in use. Reports suggest it could be around 35% smaller, which honestly, good, about time. The leak also suggests that the colors will be applied to a new back glass, designed to minimize the visual gap between the glass and the titanium frame, creating a more seamless, monolithic appearance. So basically, it's going to look more like one unified piece of material rather than a phone with a glass patch glued onto a metal frame. That's actually a meaningful design refinement, not flashy, but you'll feel it when you pick one up. And then there's the camera. Separately, Mac Rumors reported in April that variable aperture production has begun, making the iPhone 18 Pro's first variable aperture camera essentially confirmed. The main 48 megapixel Fusion camera is rumored to have a variable aperture, which would allow users to control the amount of light that passes through the camera lens and reaches the sensor. This is a big deal. DSLR level aperture control on a phone. That's the kind of feature that makes photographers actually consider switching or staying. So, yeah, the color is the headline, but the camera might be the real reason you upgrade. One more thing, because this leak also touched on the foldable. Apple's foldable, currently rumored to be called the iPhone Ultra rather than the iPhone Fold, is expected to launch alongside the Pro models in September 2026. Macworld's source describes a device that looks like an iPad mini when unfolded, approximately 5.5 inches closed and 7.8 inches when open. The most striking spec, 4.7 millimeters thick when unfolded, and significantly thinner than the iPhone Air, which is 5.6 millimeters, 4.7 millimeters unfolded. That's the kind of number that makes you wonder what they sacrificed to get there, because engineering doesn't give you that for free. For the foldable, Apple reportedly plans to stay away from bold or vibrant colors. Macworld's source says the options are a classic silver and white model and an indigo option similar to the iPhone 17 Pro's deep blue. So if you wanted the foldable in dark cherry, nope. Apple wants the Ultra to feel like a serious professional device, which makes sense given it's going to have a serious professional price tag attached to it. Okay, so here's where I land on all of this. The four colors, dark cherry, light blue, dark gray, silver, are a more mature, more refined lineup than last year. Less bold, more grown up. And that's either Apple reading the room or Apple playing it safe. Probably both. Dark cherry is going to be the one everyone talks about, but I genuinely bet the light blue moves more units, because Sierra blue was beloved, and this is basically that color coming back. Then the black situation is frustrating, especially because dark gray, a Pantone 426C, is a shade that looks almost black. So they're giving you almost black while they let the absence of actual black become a conversation every single year, which is either a genius PR play or a genuine oversight. And at this point, after 2 years, it's definitely not an oversight. The source cautions that all four colors are still in development. And since the iPhone 18 Pro hasn't gone into mass production, Apple still has time to make changes. Also, bear in mind, Apple doesn't always offer 4 color options for the Pro lineup, so one of these shades could still be dropped. The iPhone 18 Pro models and foldable iPhone are expected to be announced in September 2026. Between now and then, things can change, colors can get cut, new ones can appear. That's the game. But if this holds, dark cherry is the move. And I think most of you already know which color you're picking. Let me know in the comments. Are you a dark cherry person, or are you still waiting for Apple to just bring back black? Catch you next video. Peace.